Good morning, friends. I am here to speak something on the Code of Civil Procedure. Before going into the present enactment as it is, let me just give you a historical background of how exactly the Code of Civil Procedure came into force. The first Code of Civil Procedure was enacted in 1859, subsequently amended in the year 1877 and in 1882. However, these amendments did not serve the purpose. Therefore, the present Code of Civil Procedure was enacted in 1908. It was drafted by a committee headed by Sir Earl Richards, and then it was placed before the Westminster Parliament, which committee travelled to India, read its history, the ancient texts, and then knew the traditions and culture of this country, and a draft legislation was prepared, keeping all such things in view. The Code of Civil Procedure 1908 came into force with effect from January 1, 1909. There are three major amendments. The object of amendments was to keep procedural law in tune with the changing needs of society and even technological advances. The first amendment happened in the year 1976, which came into effect from the 1st of February 1977, except sections 12, 13 and 50, the rest of them came into force immediately. But section 12 and 50 came into force effective from the 1st of May 1977, and section 13 came into force on the 1st of July 1977. There was a subsequent amendment which happened in the year 99, that is the Code of Civil Procedure Amendment Act 99, which came into force from the 1st of July 2002. The next amendment immediately thereafter happened, the Code of Civil Procedure Amendment Act of 2002, which came into force from the 1st of July 2002. Now, what is the main object of Civil Procedure Code? The word code signifies a systematic collection of statutes, a body of laws so arranged as to avoid inconsistency and overlapping. The preamble of the code states that the object of the act is to consolidate and amend the laws relating to the procedure of the courts of civil judicature. The main aim of the Civil Procedure Code is to facilitate justice and seek an end to the litigation rather than provide any form of punishment and penalties. The Civil Procedure Code, or the CPC as we shortly call it, directs each activity in civil courts and the gatherings previously till the execution of the decree and order. Way back in the year 1895, the Presidency Court, as it then was, in Calcutta, it said, the court observed that the consolidate law means to collect statutory law relating to a particular subject and to bring it down to date in order that it may form a useful code applicable to circumstances existing at the time when the Consolidation Act is enacted. The Patna High Court in the year 2007 said, the CPC is a complete code in itself. Once proceedings are initiated under the code, rights and remedies have to be looked thereunder. Recently, in the year 2007, the Supreme Court had the opportunity to say that the code consolidates and amends law relating to courts of civil judicature. It also deals with substantive rights, but mainly aims to consolidate the law relating to civil courts and the procedures. The Civil Procedure Code is exhaustive on the matters directly dealt by it, but is comprehensive in other issues. The framers of this code must not have foreseen the possible circumstances which may arise in the future litigations and could not provide the procedure for such situations. Hence, the framers of the code provided inherent powers to the court to meet such circumstances where the code could not provide a procedure according to the principles of natural justice, equity and good conscience. As this code is a general procedure law, it does not contradict with the local or special laws in force. in the event of any conflict between the Civil Procedure Code and the special law, the special law would prevail over the Civil Procedure Code. Section 9 of the Code of Civil Procedure gains relevance in this aspect. In case the local or general law is silent on any matter, then the provisions of Civil Procedure Code will prevail. Now let me come to the scheme of the procedure code. The code consists of two different parts. One is the body of the code and the second part is the schedule. Now the body of this code has 12 parts containing around 158 sections. The schedule is the second part containing orders and consequent rules. The body of the code lays down general principles relating to powers of the court. And in the case of second part, that is what I'm talking about, the schedule, provides for the procedures, methods and manners in which the jurisdiction of the court may be exercised. In fact, there were 5 schedules when this code was enacted, but later Schedule 2, 3, 4 and 5, that is Roman number 2 to 5, were repealed by subsequent amendments to the code. The first schedule, which is the only schedule to the code, now has 51 orders. Each order contains rules that vary in numbers from order to order. There are 8 appendices giving model formats, that is the forms such as pleadings, whether it is plaints or written statement formats, the process formats, the discovery, inspection and admission formats, how a decree has to be drafted, how an execution has to be petition has to be drafted, how a supplemental proceedings has to be dealt with, how appeals, references, reviews have to be handled, and miscellaneous. Now the various high courts under section 122 to 127, 129, 130 and 131 are given powers to alter and add any rules to the schedules. So as I said, the various high courts are empowered to alter and add any rules, but such additions or alterations should not be inconsistent with the provisions of the body of the code. Now, the provisions of the code also could be amended by the legislature, and in such case the courts cannot alter or amend the body of the code. So friends, this is a brief introduction as to the background and the manner in which the Code of Civil Procedure has come into force. I will be highlighting the other aspects of the Code of Civil Procedure in my following videos, where I'll be taking a practical example of filing a civil suit before a court of law, with which background I'll be speaking on the various sections and the supporting or the ancillary codes which relate to the filing of a civil suit before a civil court which has got competent jurisdiction. Thank you, friends.